So here we've got the sweet peas under the coal frames, and they are doing really, really well. However, it's going to be really chilly for the next 2 nights, so I'm going to bring them in to the greenhouse just for 2 nights, because the risk is if they get too cold, they can get something called cold shock, and that turns the foliage yellow. And the colder they get, the paler the foliage gets, so it can actually go all the way to white, and the leaves don't recover from that. The plant doesn't normally die, but it can make your plant look not quite as beautiful. And we are so nearly there. So these are going to come into the greenhouse just for 2 nights, and then I'll bring them back out to continue the hardening off process. The cornflowers, for example, they're a lot more hardy, so they can stay out here. I might put a bit of fleece over the coal frame just to protect them, but otherwise they've been hardening off for a long time and they are more hardy. And any newly germinated seedlings, you don't want to leave them in the greenhouse tonight because it'll be too much of a shock for them. You don't want to set them back when they're doing so well. I've got a heat mat, so I'm just going to put the heat mat on really low, literally about 9 degrees, so it will kick in when the soil temperature goes below that. So not hot, because we don't need to germinate the seeds, but I want to stop them from freezing. If you don't have a heat mat in your greenhouse, most people won't, then just take them up to the house tonight, bring them back out tomorrow, and then back up to the house again the day after, and then we should be out of trouble. That's why you also don't want to sow too many seeds, because we've only got a couple of trays to worry about. I thought I might as well show you everything. So this is the polytunnel, and now you can see the point of these fences, can't you? Because we have flowers to protect. So I'm keeping the polytunnel shut all day, and Neil's put the fences at the front as well now. And then what we'll do later is we will pull over the horticultural fleece over the top. I'm keeping the polytunnel shut because that means that the soil will charge up with warmth during the day, release it overnight, and then that fleece will trap that warmth around the plants for long enough for them to be happy overnight. I've still got outside under the coal frames the sweet rocket, the Anemones, which could do with planting soon, at the size of that. Visnaga, that is a little bit more delicate than the Anemones, so maybe push that one to the back. And then I've got the Olea grandiflora and the wild carrot. Now the only reason that you would not leave hardy plants like this outside is if you've only just started hardening them off. So today is not the day to start the hardening off process. Wait for a couple of days and the temperatures will rise again, and then you can start. It is so lovely now the sun's come out, so I thought, well, while I've got the greenhouse and the sweet peas are in here, I will just go through all the plants really carefully, check them for watering, and also untangle them ready for planting out time, because it's just so nice to be in the greenhouse to have a little job to do, but it is quite funny. I have run out of seaweed solutions. I've had to use tomato food, so if you see any little marks on my leaves, look there, that's tomato food. It hasn't got a disease or anything, don't worry. That's why I prefer the seaweed solution, especially for seedlings, because it doesn't make blue marks on the leaves. So if you see any little marks on my sweet peas, it's just tomato food. I need to order some seaweed solution. I'll do that later. Oh, don't the hellebores look lovely? So beautiful at this time of the year. I've got a little patch here. Now, if you have hellebores, watch out tomorrow morning. Do not worry if your hellebores suddenly collapse. If you come out in the morning and it's been cold and they're all laying flat on the ground, don't worry, they are not ruined. It's just that the water has frozen. Hellebores are very reliant on the water because they wilt in the vase. If you pick them too early like this, you have to sear and slash the stems to stop them from wilting in the vase. If you wait until they get seed pods, by that time the stems have got a lot more fibrous and they're able to have their own scaffolding and stand up. But when they're younger, like these flowers here, if they don't have enough water, they can't stand up and they just lay flat on the ground. But the minute they defrost, they'll be back to standing up like soldiers. So don't panic, it'll be fine.